Hey everyone, so this is a video I've been wanting to make for a long time. Didn't really want to stress the problems during the playthrough because I don't know, for me when I'm watching a game and somebody's talking bad about it, it kind of turns me off of watching it. I'm like, no, I don't really want to see somebody play a game that I enjoy and saying bad things about it. Nevertheless, there were some issues with the beginning of Fairy Fencer, and if it were not for Sherman and the fact that I had promised to do a playthrough for the Villain of Overhype, I would have not continued Fairy Fencer. And considering that was about the 2 hour mark, which in Steam, when you buy a game on Steam, that's your window to return a game, Idea Factory would have lost a sale on the game. Now, I was wondering, was this just me? But when looking at the beginning of Fairy Fencer and comparing it to miniseries, I feel like the beginning has some core problems that it needed to fix in order for it, because the beginning of a game is so important because people can return a game. So, I'll be comparing it to the Neptunia series a bit because, well, I really enjoy the Neptunia series and they're made by the same company, and I feel like people who are familiar with the Fairy Fencer series will also be familiar with the Neptunia series. But I'm only going to do the first game, or Rebirth 1, if you will. Because I feel like it's not fair to compare it to a sequel because they have more to work with. So when I get interested in this series, there are a couple of things that interest me. Talking about the Neptunia series, one, the characters, alright? The characters get me interested into watching a story. And if it wasn't for Neptune herself, when I was watching the anime, I would have closed off of the show completely because too many things that they did were red flags to me. But Neptune herself interested me so much that I wanted to keep going. Now that's personal, alright? I will admit that. Like, that's personal preference. But the second thing is the world, and the third thing is the plot. Alright? Now let's go through those three things, alright? First off, I'm going to start with the plot. So what's the plot of Fairy Fencer? Initially, well, all that you know is that there's two things. The main plot is collecting the Furies to save the goddess. Alright, or revive the goddess. And the second thing is to help Eren restore her memory. So talking about the main plot, I was like, okay, so you revive the goddess and then you get your wish. Alright, so what's Fang's wish gonna be? Fang does not care about the main plot at all in the beginning. And if Fang doesn't care, then I'm like, alright, then why should I care? Is the world, is the world a dark place? Does it look evil? Heck no, in fact, the main character is in jail because he took some bread. The world seems very much like a normal place. It doesn't seem too corrupted. It's not like it's in an apocalyptic state. It's like, well, I don't really need a reason to revive the goddess because the world seems fine, at least in the beginning of the game. So then the only thing you would be looking forward to is the wish, and Fang doesn't even have a really wish besides give me some food, but he didn't feel like it was that much, it was worth, doing all that work to grant his wish. So the main plot, I'm like, well, why should I care about it? Is it interesting? No, it's right now in the beginning of the game, it's alright, you go to Lola, you get some info on the Fury, you go find a Fury, you fight a boss, and then you come back and you wash, rinse, and repeat. And that's what it seems like in the beginning. Again, not that interesting. Like, again, this is all personal preference. I don't want to seem like what I'm saying is fact, but I do think that they could have done it more interesting where if the main character cared about the plot, then at least we have something to go off on. So then, alright, then the main plot, it's not that interesting. Well, at least let's look at the subplot. I mean, Eren lost her memories. Alright, same thing with Neptune, right? Neptune lost her memories. There's a difference between Eren and Neptune. Neptune, we got to see who she was. Neptune was a CPU of Planeptune. She had just finished fighting the 3 other CPUs. She fell down to Earth, she fell down to Earth, back to her city, and she had lost her memories. She was the leader of her nation, in her nation, and she didn't realize who she was, and Neptune herself the plot revolved around her. If she ran into the other 3 CPUs, they try to take her out. Then there's also R4, who's trying to take out the CPUs and, take over the world and things like that. But Neptune losing her memories was a big deal because we already knew who she was. And we already know why we want her to have her memories back, because she's such an important figure and can affect things around us. What reason do we have for Eren to get her memories back? All we know is that she's a fairy. Okay, I didn't even know they needed to have memories. We don't know why she's important. We don't know that she is, well, who she is, which is revealed later on. We just know she's a fairy and that she lost her memories. Okay, so, why should I, the player, care that much to where I want to keep playing this game, to where Aaron, where I want to recover Aaron's memories? So, I guess if you were, if I was in the real world and somebody said they lost their memories, well, even then, it's do you know the person that well? And Aaron, in the beginning, felt very generic as well. Aaron didn't really have any qualities that stood out, like Fang does. Like, he's rude, he's lazy, he likes to eat. Or Tiara, she has, pseudo-masochist tendencies and could be considered stuck up in the beginning, or, things like that. Aaron's just a girl who lost her memories and wants to revive the goddess, which is the plot. Nothing in the beginning really stood out for me as far as the plot goes. Well, then what about the world? Is the world that interesting? Well, no, not really, in my opinion. It just seems like an old-fashioned kind of world. Nothing interesting seems to be happening. Nobody's in danger, or the danger we see, it seems like stereotypical villains, yeah, I'm evil, give me your wallet. Like the bandit who tried to steal from Tiara. It's like, okay, well, I guess that's cool. That wasn't really that interesting to me. Nothing unique about that. And so then you're left with the characters themselves. And like I said, Aaron to me was the most interesting one, but she had nothing to stand out for her character. Well, not most interesting one, the one I liked the most, because Fang felt too rude for me. I mean, again, this is personal. This part is completely personal. But Fang felt too rude, and Tiara was also the same way. And which made Aaron just the one I could tolerate the most. But not tolerate the most. I actually did like Aaron because of what she did to help Fang and what she wanted to accomplish on her goal. But yeah, the main three characters, they didn't work. After Fang met Emily, then he got a huge change in character. And then I actually started really liking Fang. And then when Aaron and Tiara, when I found out that who they both were and their, their ties to the goddess and the vile god, then it's like, yeah, okay, they're interesting now. But in the beginning of the game, they just seemed like bland characters. And so I was thinking, alright, so we have a guy, we don't know anything about his backstory. He's just lazy and really strong, and he doesn't really care about the plot. He just wants to help Aaron gain her memories back. Aaron is just a normal, seems like a normal girl who's a fairy, and she wants to revive the goddess. Nothing really special about her, and she's even lost her memories to boot. I don't know, I don't have a reason of why I would want her to have her memories back. She just lost them. Alright, and then there's Tiara, who, in my opinion, I just didn't like her at all in the beginning. I just didn't. And so when you have all three of those, again, that my personal preference, there was really nothing in the beginning of the game that interested me. The only thing that interested me was Sherman, and that's only because he seemed like a really good guy who just wanted to do the right thing. So that's why when he came back again, and then I saw his interaction, Sherman was the most interesting and entertaining character to me. And I still say that without Sherman, Harley's... The thing about Harley is that Harley was just a character that I really liked, but I'm not saying that she was all that fleshed out of a character either. In fact, I was told by the villain overhyped, one of the things that Fairy Fencer benefited from was that there were fewer characters in the Neptunia series, so they had more time to focus on the characters. Yeah, I still say, and maybe it's because there's been series of the Neptunia series, which is why I say it's not really fair, but I enjoy the Neptunia characters a lot more than I do the Fairy Fencer characters. A lot of them just seem like they're missing some sort of quality that they need to truly stand out. I will say a few of the ones that I did think that stood out. It was Sherman, Ethel, and Tiara had qualities that stood out. I just didn't like them. And Fang also had qualities that stood out. Again, I just didn't like them initially. But they both grew. I get the fact that growing is a part of the game. And I liked how they grew, but there was nothing to keep me invested in the beginning of the game. Nothing that I felt was worth my time spending on this game before I got to a certain point. And by that point, it's realistically, it's too late. somebody's already returned the game. And I would have returned the game if I wasn't, doing a playthrough and I hadn't met Sherman, who just so happened to interest me enough. And even Sherman, I didn't mention this, even Sherman wasn't that interesting of a character to me. He wasn't. He was just a guy who was just trying to do the right thing, no substance, nothing that much at all until you got further in the game. So, but anyways, that's just my thoughts. I feel like if Fairy Fencer had made the plot either more interesting than, the usual collect the Furies, and, give us a reason, like give us some huge problem that we know about in the world of why we need the goddess to come back and, help the world out. Or give Fang a good wish, something he's wanted to wish for since he was a kid. And that's the reason why he wants to get the Furies. Or have Aaron be, give us a reason, or give us a little bit hint of who Aaron is, so we can know why it's so important that she get her memories back. Because with all of that, with all that missing, I just felt like Fairy Fencer wasn't that interesting at all. So, but yeah, that's just my thoughts. What are yours? Do you feel like I'm being too hard, or do you think, again, it's personal preference? Did you have no issues with the beginning? I just wanted to make this video because, when I was playing the game, it was really rough, and I felt bad because I know the Villain Overhype really wanted me to play, although he actually, if you guys haven't noticed, he actually hadn't been around that much. He was thinking maybe he overhyped me for Fairy Fencer, which, again, I don't think that was the case. I went into the game with very low expectations. I just wanted something interesting to latch on to, which is why I latched on to Sherman, because like he seems like the most interesting thing to me, because he also could have been evil and whatnot. But yeah, anyways, those are just my thoughts. What are yours? Please post them down in the comments below, and I will see you all next time.